ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the I.M.A.G.E TV podcast, PTWWN, Preach the Word Worldwide TV Network, special edition. And we've got Kyle Sanders on the I.M.A.G.E TV show. Kyle, it is a pleasure to have you on the show.
Oh, thank you, Bobby. It's a pleasure to be here.
And we're in Boise, Idaho, ladies and gentlemen, where I always come out to visit Kyle and the family. So, Kyle, what's been going on?
You know, just living a good life out here.
Yeah.
Got two daughters that are, one is 22, the other is 18, getting ready to graduate high school. So, yeah, that's pretty much been keeping my hands full.
Yeah, I'll tell you. So, how long has it been now since we've graduated from high school?
I don't know. I can do math that well. Back in 92, here we are. So 33 years, something like that.
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about our basketball careers. We talked with your mom and dad in the last episode a little bit about our growing up, history and all that. But, we were both fortunate enough to play for your dad and then receive full ride scholarships at college.
Yep.
You received a full ride scholarship to play for Nick Nurse, who is now a NBA coach.
Yep.
And
coach
has
of the 76ers.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we were down in a camp down in Louisville between our sophomore and our junior year, blue chip camp. A lot of great high school players throughout the country down there, and obviously a lot of scouts, a lot of college scouts down there. And I think that's maybe where I got noticed. At least got on the radar of some of the smaller schools. And Nick was the head coach at Grandview. He was 26 years old. His first year was our senior year in high school. So the following year, so I was on the radar there, and then that following year we went to Future Stars camp, and Nick was part of that camp as well. And from there on, when the recruiting started, it was just kind of really nonstop. He says his wife fell in love with me. I think the way I played the game, maybe not so much for my looks, but yeah. It was just the full court press, if you will, was on with him. I mean, he really recruited me hard. At least I felt like he did. It was every other day I was getting little cards in the mail.
We went through some of that stuff last night.
We saw some of them. There's a little card in there too with Grandview basketball, and it's just hi, the smiley face, Nick. It was just he was at a lot of our games, and Mike Bourne. Pat Springer and Brian David, who played high school with Nick at Carroll Kemper, were the assistant coaches, and they were all very young, and they were all accomplished basketball players. I mean, I think Mike is a scout for the Indiana Pacers right now.
Yeah,
and just having a younger coaching staff, but guys that I knew could play the game. It was attractive to go there, and it really was about the coaching staff. But it was also that I felt like they really wanted me. It was something I was going to be an integral part of their plan, moving ahead. So, and being close to home, it didn't hurt either. So, it was.
Did you ever think Nick Nurse would be an NBA coach?
Yeah, I knew he was going to be successful. I knew that. I didn't know he really had aspirations for the NBA at that time. I thought it was more major college basketball, but no, I'm not surprised at all. That guy, you don't want to talk about intensity, and he played the game that way too. Everything he does, he goes balls to the wall. I mean, he was intense in every practice. I think he's calmed down a little bit now. I mean, I still see him on the sidelines on TV, and he's still getting after the refs. But, man, when he was younger, he was, intense. Our practices were hard.
Really?
And it was enjoyable. I mean, I got a lot better as a player being in that type of an environment.
What was weird is when we were in high school, I didn't even know. I didn't think I was even going to go to college to play. I didn't understand, how that would cross over, because I just didn't understand it. I mean, you think college, you think it costs a lot of money, especially back then.
Yeah.
And then grades, I didn't really have all that, but we did it. I mean, I was able to go to college. I couldn't believe that. And I remember when you told me that, when we were like juniors or something, you're like, yeah, you're going to go to college. You'll play in college. And I didn't understand it at all. And because I'm just thinking, well, who's going to pay for it, and all that. And then I didn't understand the full ride scholarship part of it. And so I went to I.M.A.G.E for 2 years.
Played with some good players up there.
Played with some good players. One, B.J. Hill, who went to Grandview.
Yep.
And
he's from Cedar Falls.
Yeah. And just getting the opportunity to play in that junior college, it helped prepare me to go to the next college, which was the University of Hawaii Hilo. And I received that scholarship to go there. And then you guys came out there to see me.
It was a great excuse to get to Hawaii.
Yeah, that was fun. But those college days, I was talking to your mom and dad about this. There was still no funner time than high school. I mean, I look at college was a great experience. Yeah. It was fun, but it didn't compare to high school, especially our senior year.
Yeah. I think a lot of that too is, we grew up. We were together.
Yeah.
And even the kids in our class and the kids below us and the class ahead of us, we played together for years, whether it's Salvation Army basketball or AAU basketball, definitely the basketball camps, and then you get into the school games. And I think that's what really made it special is that longevity, but the relationships that we had as friends, just in school in general, help kind of, I think, support that narrative of what you're saying is that it was special.
Yes. We had a lot of the same players on our team as seniors that we went to school with in elementary and middle school.
Yeah.
Chad Barnes.
And then
Paul
we had
Rourke,
Paul Rourke,
a lot of the underclassmen.
Yeah. Justin Allen. Jeremy Heinen, of course. Jeff Heinen, Frank Gillum.
Yeah.
Just some great players. And then, and then kids move in and kids move out. But, you had Jeff Hemrick move in.
Jeff Hemrick.
That was a real big pickup for us. He was a great athlete.
Yes. And then the supporters. What about like Lou Heinen?
Lou Heinen and Larry Gillum.
Larry Gillum.
Some of the two most iconic parents in the stands that you could imagine. We had a loud crowd, I think, just because of those two.
Yeah, we did.
Definitely had a fan base.
And then one of the things that made it fun was just like the character and the people that we were hanging around, and the kind of what we developed. Even getting in trouble a little bit. That wasn't major trouble, but like with Larry, the guy that worked at McDonald's.
Yeah.
Larry Thompson.
That turned out to be quite an endeavor, didn't it? 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
No one think you could pull a prank for that long.
Yeah. But man.
We did, though.
We did. We did. Ladies and gentlemen, you're tuned in to the I.M.A.G.E TV podcast. Thanks for joining us. For those of you watching us on PTWWN, we want to say thank you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Continue to keep subscribing. Continue to keep supporting us. We are here with Kyle Sanders. And Kyle Sanders was not only my best friend as a kid, but he's also my brother. Was my foster brother, and we are just like Starsky and Hutch. We come out here, we don't miss a step. And so I'll be here. I'm always going to come back out here, long as he's here, the family's here. But one of the things that makes this so special is just the fact that we're opposite races, because, I never seen this until experience in life, particularly after that, all the racism that goes on. A lot of it's hidden.
Yeah.
And a lot of this stuff I wasn't necessarily exposed to like I see now. And it kind of trips me out when I see it, because of how I was raised.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, I think that was that was something that was installed for me, with my parents. People are people.
Yeah.
You don't look at the color of somebody's skin. You get to know them and you understand their character, and that's how you develop. Whether that's somebody you want to hang out with or someone you want to be your best friend or what, but it's about the person. It has nothing to do with color of skin or gender even, really. I mean, I think that for me comes back to, my family and how I was raised. And it wasn't, I wasn't told, oh, you have to be friends with everybody. It's just people are people. You get to choose who you want to be friends with. Yes. And who you want to associate with.
But I remember where there were times when you would catch a lot of flack sometimes, and you would stick up for me, and with integrity, and you don't see so much of that stuff, these days. And so it was little things like that kind of just shaped the way and kind of, gave me a lot more understanding of kind of what people should do versus what people do.
Yeah.
How do you like living out here in Boise, Idaho?
I love it.
So let's look back. Let's go back just a little bit when you were at Grandview.
Yeah.
Okay. So you broke up with your high school girlfriend and then went to Grandview where you met your first wife.
Yep.
And that brought you out here.
Yeah, she's from this area, and funny story, she was actually at Grandview. She had a boyfriend that was on a baseball scholarship.
I remember that.
Yeah, he was a good baseball player. And so that's what brought her to Iowa. And, they had a falling out, and there we were. And so after graduation, because it was great going to school there in Des Moines, but I kind of always had thoughts of I was going to go away to college.
Okay.
And that didn't really happen. And then so when we graduated, she was from this area. I came out and visited one time. Very first time I snow skied, and I just kind of fell in love with the place. So once we graduated, I'm like, well, let's move to Boise. Let's take an adventure and see where this goes. And so that was in 1998. We left Des Moines and moved out here. So started a family, and it's just been great. It's a great place to be. A great place to.
You want to know what is awesome about that little story about that is, so you met her, moved out here, and then your mom and dad moved out here, and then they got a chance to watch and raise their grandkids.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty awesome, right?
And that's just my family, really. I mean, that's kind of what it's about. It's not about where you're at or what you have. It's about who you're with.
Yeah.
And for them, it was a very difficult decision for them to move out. Their roots in Iowa are very, very deep. From southeast Iowa, where they grew up, into Des Moines and spending 20 plus years there, and then to pick up and move to Boise, Idaho, I wouldn't say it was for me. It was really for my daughters.
Sure.
I think they were probably more of the priority for them coming out. But that's really what it's about is the people you're with.
Right. So we've got little Carly and Miley Sanders.
Yep.
Your two daughters.
Carly is 22 and Miley's 18.
Yeah. And every time I come out here and I talk to them on the phone when I'm back home, they always go, "Hey, Uncle Bob." They've always got a present or something for Uncle Bob. So, man, it's fun coming out here. This is just a blast. And I'm glad we finally got this opportunity to do a podcast out here in Boise, Idaho.
Yeah.
I mean, that there sets some precedents.
Live on location.
That's right. So let's talk about, let's see, what are we going to talk, what haven't we talked about?
Well, how about a good story?
Like what?
Well, I'll say this. Bobby worked hard, and that's why he is where he is today. But that's why he got through the turmoil and things, in his younger years.
You're saying me?
I'm talking about
okay.
you. Yeah.
All right.
He did work hard, but not all the time. He was naturally. You were naturally gifted. You're bigger, you're faster, you're stronger than most of the kids that we played with and played against. But I remember it was a conditioning day in practice, and my dad, Bobby wasn't winning the line drills. He wasn't winning the sprints, and he should have. He should have won every single one. And I remember my dad saying, "We're going to do this all night until Bobby Pate wins one of these." He started that line drill. I never saw anybody run so damn fast. It was like a black streak, just running down the court. I was like, oh.
Oh, man, gosh.
That was the last line drill we ran that practice.
Hey, I'll tell you, that was one of the things that I think about. Your dad used to bring stuff out of me that I didn't know that I had. Like, I thought that I would die sometimes running. Way, and then coming back like off breaks, like Thanksgiving break or something like that, when we were eating and had a couple days off, then we had to go in there and run those suicides and those sprints. Yeah. Just thinking about that, a lot of times I felt defeated. Mm-hmm. And we'd have to get on that line and, it's all right, get on the line now. We had to, that was just like hell.
Yeah.
And he knew if I wasn't, given 100%, or if I was given 50 or 60%, and he would make me, keep pushing and pull all that stuff out of me that I didn't even know I had.
Yep. You had it in there and you just didn't know it. But
yeah. I think that's common to a lot of people.
I think so. You got to get yourself uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You got to be comfortable getting uncomfortable, because that's the only way you're going to grow and be good at anything.
Yeah. So you're out here, Boise, Idaho. Now you've got your family, laid back, relaxed. It seems like, do you think you see yourself staying here for a while?
Yeah. I really don't see, at this point, any motivation to go anywhere else. I mean, my parents are back out here. My kids are here. The love of my life, Jenny Fisher, is here.
Yes.
So, at least in the short term, no, I don't see me leaving this area. But that's not to say that something can't happen. My girls might go live somewhere, and I might have to, do like my parents did if I want to be close to them.
Yeah. Then we'd all have to follow you out somewhere else.
Might have to. Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's just crazy that we get older, and it's like, wow, what are all those years behind us go to? Kids, I've got Princess and Precious Pate. They're 23 years old. I have 2 sons, and it just seems like we are so, like we're old now.
It's only a mindset,
Yeah.
It's fun to look back, and I think you have to look back, and I think you have to learn from, what you did well, what you didn't do well, learn from experiences that may have been first experiences early on, but now you're older. And you gain off that.
Yeah.
But I think you got to look forward too. There's still a lot of life left, and what do you want your life to look like? Who do you want to be? Look at you. I mean, 20 years ago, they didn't even have podcasts.
Yeah.
So.
One thing I can say that added up with this podcast and stuff that I do is when I was in college, when I was at the University of Hawaii Hilo, majoring in performing arts, TV, and film, when I got into this podcast, I forgot all about that and how that kind of made that connection.
Yeah.
But I love it, man. This is fun. It's good to be able to get on here and talk, people, and bring out stories so that people can hear the truth of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Spread a good message.
Yeah, spread a good message. Yeah.
There's so much negativity in the world today that, there needs to be more positive.
Yeah.
More positive podcasts, more positive conversations, more positive stories.
Yes, most definitely. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you all. You're tuned in to PTWWN Special Edition and the I.M.A.G.E podcast. We got Kyle Sanders on the show, and we're having a great time. We would like to thank all the supporters that have supported the I.M.A.G.E show, the I.M.A.G.E podcast. We would like to thank you all for all of your support. Brian Lee with Doc's Lounge. We also have Nancy Huizinga with CCI. She's a volunteer for CCI back in Des Moines, Iowa. We would like to thank you guys for your support in supporting this show. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're back on the I.M.A.G.E TV podcast. So, now, Kyle, I remember there was one time when we were kids and basketball camp started in the summertime, and I didn't have the money to go to camp.
Oh, we were going to Ballard.
We were going to the Ballard basketball camp, and
Coach Larry Schaefer.
But I remember it cost like $40 to go to this camp, and I didn't have the money to go to the camp. And I remember I said that I would have it, and you came to pick me up. Your dad came to pick me up, and I was supposed to pay him when we got there. And I remember when you came, you said, "Do you got the money?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't." And you had $40, two $20 bills wrinkled up in your pocket, and you go, "Here, just give this to my dad. Just tell him it came from you." And I said, "All right." And I was able to go to that camp, and me and you both combined, we took home all the trophies.
We did. It's always good to go to somebody else's camp and leave with all the hardware.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a lot of fun. And then speaking of Coach Schaefer for Ballard.
Legendary coach.
Yeah, he treated us real well in those basketball camps.
Great man.
We ate at the country club for lunch breaks and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and what a great coach he was. He had great teams.
What about when we played them in high school? We always beat them in high school.
Yeah, I think our sophomore year they got us, but they had a good team. Brady Mellon and was on that team. Jeremy I.M.A.G.E was on that team.
Yeah.
But then our junior and senior year, they didn't really have a chance.
No,
they had no shot. Remember that 3-quarter shot you made our junior year?
Oh yeah, they had scraped the ceiling, and it went in, and the referee counted it.
Yeah. And Coach Schaefer was so mad. He was livid because he saw it hit the ceiling. He saw it hit the rafter.
Yeah.
And he was so mad. Do you know what happened after that? So my dad and Coach Schaefer obviously had a really good relationship. You know,
right.
They played golf together. They worked camps together. And they had like the same personality, same sense of humor.
Right.
After that game, my dad, he walked into the Ballard locker room. The kids had already dressed and everything. He went in to talk to Coach Schaefer. But before he walked in, he grabbed an old basketball and he had the janitor make a white strip of paint on that basketball. He took it into Coach Schaefer. He's like, "Hey, Coach, good game." He's like, yeah, good game. He's like, "I just thought you wanted the game ball." And the white stripe on it, like it hit the rafters.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember years after that, Coach Schaefer would see me and he'd shake my hand. He'd say, "Hey, Bobby, how you doing?" He said, "The next time you ever shoot a 3-quarter shot like that, just make sure you open your eyes." Oh man, the good old days.
Yeah,
boy.
Lots of fun. Those, and that's a lot of what our childhood really was just, in the summer it was going to camps. I mean, we went to 8-10 different camps a summer.
We went to camps. We went to colleges.
Yep.
We went and watched college basketball.
Yeah.
At that young of an age.
Yeah. We would go down. Drake at the time had their Midnight Madness type of a thing. The start of. You can only practice on certain dates. You couldn't have practice starting before a certain date. But midnight of that day, a lot of colleges. I remember going down to Drake and watching them. We went to the University of Iowa, saw B.J. Armstrong, Eddie Horton,
that's right,
A.C. Earl.
Yes, yes.
And of course, Gamble and Marble and all those guys. But
and see, that's the type of stuff that your dad did instilled in young people's lives. That's the type of stuff, the type of behavior that I like to adapt and try to instill in a lot of these young people's minds. That's what a lot of I.M.A.G.E for Lives is about. Giving people the opportunity for chances that they didn't have.
Yeah, have an experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's life-changing.
Mm-hmm.
It's so life-changing. So coming out here to Boise, Idaho, man, being able to do this podcast was real important for me. And I think it's real important for the people. It's important for I.M.A.G.E for Lives because it's a part of the history.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you've done great. And, again, it kind of starts at the roots.
Yeah.
And nobody has a perfect life.
Right.
There's no such thing.
Right.
Life is what you make it. And I think part of that is learning that life is going to be what you make it. And I think you've learned that lesson. I mean, I think you're a perfect example of seeing how hard life can be, how great life can be, the trials and tribulations that life has to offer. You can look at it as a negative, or you can look at it as a positive. And I think somewhere along the line, you obviously figured that out, because look at you now. You're spreading a very positive message, faith-based.
Yes.
And there's nothing but good that can come from that. So
Sure.
I think you are the living example of that.
Amen. I got to give God all the praise and honor for that. Even though I'm not a perfect man, but I learned the difference, and I know that the success, the root seed of it comes through my belief in my faith in God, And so, speaking of faith in God, remember Ryan Sewell?
Yeah.
Ryan Wade Sewell.
Yeah. Ryan was a great teammate.
He was. Great guy.
Fantastic teammate.
His parents, I go to church with his parents. They go to Westchester Church. I just started going to that church probably about maybe less than a year ago.
Down where we used to play basketball.
Yeah, right in our old neighborhood. And they have been very supportive. They go back and they talk about a lot of the old times, and they even invited me over for Thanksgiving dinner.
Oh, yeah.
Last Thanksgiving. And that was special. Mm-hmm. So big shouts out to Mrs. Sewell and Mr. and Mrs. Sewell, their family and their whole family.
And Wade, Ryan's younger brother, played on my dad's state championship team.
Yeah. Oh, he did?
Yeah. Yeah, okay. He started.
Wow, did he?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was a great player.
Wow. Well, looks like we're about out of time. We'll continue our journey off the set. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for tuning in to the I.M.A.G.E TV podcast. This podcast, again, very, very special to me in its content. We were able to give you guys a good illustration, not only of the history of myself, but it also talks about support. It talks about racism. These types of things are what I was able to experience, and it's kind of made me the person that I am today. So I want to say, Kyle, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you all for tuning in. We are about out of time. So until next time, thank you for tuning in to the I.M.A.G.E TV podcast.
Ain't allowed in my book no more. Problems get solved and revolve without my winner 4-4. For sure I get the record blast 5 times. 254 sentenced to jail time.